Hey, I just wanted to talk about Native Americans and like our cultural identity, like who we are, as a people, like, what we truly, believed in before we were forced to convert and, forced into indoctrination and basically before they started trying to commit, cultural genocide against us. So, who we are as a people. First, I kind of just want to introduce myself. Um, I am Mexican. I am Mexica, and I'm Native American from Mexico. The Mexico actually doesn't mean anything in Spanish. The correct name is actually Meztlixiclicum. That's actually the correct name for Mexico. Mexico doesn't mean anything. There's no meaning for Mexico. In the Nahuatl language, Meztlixiclico means the land between waters where the prickly cactus fruit grows. Mexico doesn't mean anything. Like it doesn't even mean half of that. And so Mexico is actually a European name. It has nothing to do with our culture. And so, I've been studying, Native American life, like my people predominantly, but all Native America, like from the southern border of Canada, even the Beringian, lands like Canada and Alaska, which are biospherically not the Americas, but the Europeans are, they just impose that it is the Americas because they invaded it. And so it's wrong. Alaskan natives are their own people. And Canadian natives are their own people. Those two people are actually related to each other, and they are their own people. They're Beringians, and that's their place. You go to meet them, you go to talk to them, they don't think like us. We don't think alike. I mean, we practice a good neighborhood policy, but we're indifferent of each other, and that's where I'll leave it at. But so I don't know if you've seen my other videos, but yeah, I have rape genetics, in me. So, I am part European, and, that European, lineage also came with like 3% African, and yeah. But aside from that, I am Native American of Mexico and a little bit South American. But I don't claim the European blood or the African blood because that was raped into my people. So that was raped into my genetics. You know what I mean? Like they rape the mother, steal the baby. You get what I mean? That was the tactic. That was the strategy back then. They would rape the mom, take the baby, and then make the baby believe that he or she is a European, yeah, the white race, North African, Middle Eastern, European. Yeah. But no offense to anyone, I'm just here to talk about Native Americans and who we are, our true cultural identity. So first off, I want to talk about religion. Native Americans were non-religious, meaning they had no religion. Native Americans were actually people of nature. These people of nature believed in nature's elements. The three primary elements, radiation, minerals, gases. And those three primary elements unto infinity. So we're talking about space. You know what I mean? And so nothingness. This is where the number 0 actually came from. Was Native America, where it stemmed from, where it was popular. It became popularized by our people, like when Europeans invaded, they found that concept or idea of the number 0, and they were like, wow, like mind blown, And so, of course, they had to backstab us and then steal all that, basically steal our culture, and then basically claim it as theirs. And so, but yeah, that's actually because we were people of nature. We didn't have gods or any of that stuff. Although they tell you that, that's what they want you to believe. They want you to believe that we were cannibals and savages and, inbred and, just the ugliest things ever. That was actually them. That was actually what Europeans were. But, they want you to believe that we were the filthy ones, that we were the drunks. Although we're the ones that taught Europeans how to clean their buttholes and how to brush their teeth and, how to basically like eat healthy, so it just doesn't it's not sensible. And alcohol didn't even exist in the Americas. So that's the other thing, alcohol didn't exist in the Americas until Europeans invaded and brought alcohol over to the Americas. So it doesn't make sense. But it's obvious. It's just propaganda. It's just a bunch of lies. But so my people, Native Americans, like from all throughout, the Americas, were a non-religious people. There was this common belief, and it was nature. And that's why we were so humble with nature. And, they try to debunk that, but it doesn't work, because even Europeans, when they first found us, they themselves declared us the first environmentalists, because we were the first people that tried to pursue alternative means to producing technology or to surviving or living comfortably or whatever, without, affecting nature as much as possible. It's not that we didn't affect nature. We did. We did have problems. We weren't like this, I guess fantastic people, like from like some fantasy novel that you were, just extremely perfect. It's impossible to be that. Everyone is susceptible. Everyone, even fruiters, the people that don't hurt anyone, like don't destroy, like don't consume any organism of any kind, respects all life. Even they are susceptible to corruption. So we had problems, Mexicans, Native Americans, like as a whole. Like I'm talking about every gosh darn, Native American, and so we believed about nature's elements, and we personified nature's elements. So we gave nature's elements an identity to try to explain, to teach the interaction between like the elements and how everything kind of interacted with itself as if it was a person. So as if it was a person, saying like in motion. If these elements were in motion, this is how they would behave. It was a behavior thing. So the reason why Native Americans did that is because they saw ourselves, or we saw ourselves, as an element of nature. And me, I still do. Like me, let's say to this very day, like it's 2021, correct? All that stuff. But so you go to like, just look at everything. It's you eat minerals for a reason. You eat minerals, correct? You eat gases, correct? You eat radiation. Your body consumes it. So you have salt, correct? Water, correct? So salt, minerals, water, gases, then radiation, sunlight. You eat that stuff for a reason. Why? It's because you were made of that stuff. Native Americans, we saw this. And so we put this together in our minds. We're like, we are an element of nature. We are nature's elements. We are the living element of nature. And so it clicked, and we just said that. We presented it like that. A person, a living element of nature, and that's how Native Americans taught it. We taught each other that way, a personified element. So it was like how we as a people like saw ourselves was basically that. Have you ever seen like pictures of druids and stuff like that? Have you ever seen pictures of elementals? No, not druids. I retract that statement. Have you ever seen like pictures of elementals? Like an elemental, like in the fantasy novels that Europeans create. That was us. We were the elementals that they murdered, raped, plundered, pillaged, forced into indoctrination. That was us. We were that fantasy that they stole, and then they just made us a book. Yeah. They're like, this is all, it's like their insanity playing out, and they're making books about it. You know how psychopaths, they create all those weird, things like compilations of pictures, and they draw pretty smiley faces on dead bodies and stuff like that. Yeah, that's basically what Europeans have done in like a very weird way. Anyways, so yeah, that's us. Like we are elementals. That's how we carried ourselves. That's how we presented ourselves. That's how we approached everything, very gently, because we saw how sensitive the world was. Like how a fly interacts with you, like a fruit fly. A fruit fly will never hurt you. It will clean you. It will clean you up, and you'll become irritated or pissed off by it, but it will never hurt you. It will always gently, mess with you. If you try to attack it or swing at it, it'll like bump at you. It'll push you. You know what I mean? To kind of just to try to gesture to you, stop being a butthead and let me clean you. That's how Native Americans treated everything. I mean, we messed up too. We had our problems, like mushrooms and peyote, stuff like that. We did have our problems, what I mean? We did, kill animals and stuff like that, but it wasn't on our to-do list. It wasn't our everyday thing. We really cared about nature to the extent that we saw killing an animal as a crime against nature. We saw it as going against nature, because you're destroying nature. Because like I said, if we are an element of nature and you're killing life, you're killing a living element, then that means that you are destroying nature. And so that is how Native Americans saw it. Like, God did not exist. And so when the Abrahamic religion came over, when Christianity and Catholicism came over, initially Catholicism, but when Abrahamism came, or Abrahamism, is basically like the central core to, all those, branch religions such as Christianity, Catholicism, even paganism, the devil, and just all that stuff, the Virgin Mary, just, you get what I mean. Like, Abrahamism is that is the core of all of that. So when you say Abrahamism, you're talking about all of that as a conglomerate, all of it together at once. You're talking to all of it. Like, you're talking to God and the devil when you talk to Abrahamism. And so, or when you say Abrahamism. And so, basically, so Native Americans, when Abrahamism came over, or when Europeans came over with Abrahamism, and they tried to introduce it to Native Americans basically just laughed, because when they said God is your creator, when they said that, they knew it was a lie. They're like, it's impossible for something to create nothing. You cannot create nothing. And when they said God, this person, this being that they said is real, which exists, when they said that your father, this father is your creator, this God is your creator, they just laughed because they knew that something cannot create nothing. If you exist, it means you are finite. It means that I can destroy you. And that's how they knew that it was not their creator. And Europeans became enraged by this. And I think honestly that is, that was like the final straw to, yeah, let's fucking kill these like Native American pieces of shit. It was just, when you don't agree with someone's religion, and if you know the European story and what they went through, like all the trauma they went through, all the corruption that was dealt to them by the African Moors, like, and then seeing the fact that Native Americans were brown skinned, the Spanish were the ones that met us. And so the Spanish already having a problem against brown skinned, dark skinned people, like that was a huge problem for these dark skinned people to just laugh at their imaginary friend, that lives in the sky, and so, their mortal creator. And so, like, yeah, I mean, that's what it was. And so Native Americans got backstabbed for it, because there was also the gold thing. Like Native Americans, they didn't see the land as, property, and they didn't see like gold and stuff as like these treasures of possession to like have, and they didn't see it as profit. It was an element. This is nature. This is where we are. This is home. And it's like how we treat it, what we can do with it, what should we do with it? And how is it going to affect us, in the future? You know what I mean? Because it's the reason why, although they knew metallurgy, they knew how to work with metals, but they didn't work with metals because they knew that they would have to start fires. If they started fires, they knew that the air was going to be destroyed, the oxygen. They knew that this smoke that they would create would cause them to cough. It would cause them to become disoriented. In a very, very, very strong, like, proof about them just being completely against that was alcohol. Drunkenness, not alcohol, because alcohol didn't exist yet, but drunkenness. If someone ate fermented fruit or anything that was fermented that caused someone to become disoriented in the Americas, it was a severe punishment at the Americas. You would basically be killed for being drunk. And so like there's a very good reason for that, because you go to look at America now and everyone's drunk. It's like, why isn't society progressing? Why is rape happening? Why is like, spousal abuse happening? Why is like, people's wives and husbands being beat to like a pulp? You know what I mean? Kidnappings and all that stuff. And then you go to look at drunk driving. You got to look at people falling off cliffs and all that stuff. And it makes perfect sense why it was a severe punishment to become drunk, like at the Americas during pre-Hispanic times or pre-Columbian times. So honestly, I personally believe, we should definitely revert back to Native American traditions, Native American ways, and definitely we need to get rid of God and that whole imaginary dream world, because it's misleading us into ignoring nature and the environment around us and what we're doing to nature. And it's just like nature's on fire and everyone's just like, oh, just pray, God will take care of everything. Like, oh gosh, that's what the pastor guy said when coronavirus happened and he died like 2 weeks later. It's like, dude, God, like your imaginary friend, like it's it's just not reality. Like just close the book. Just close the book, open your eyes, and just look out your window. Like, this is nature. This is not the Bible. This is not a story. This is reality. This is actuality. This is naturality. You get what I'm saying? This is where we're at. And when you go and try to live in that dream, imaginary world, it's just misleading your mind. And so this is not the devil speaking, because the devil belongs to your Abrahamic religion. You get what I'm saying? Because I know there's some God people that are very like protective of their religion, and they become afraid or intimidated by my words of nature. Just that it makes them afraid that I'm the devil or something. But if I'm telling you to stop practicing Abrahamism, I'm telling you to stop practicing God and the devil, meaning that whole story all together, meaning like all of it. You get what I'm saying? I'm talking about no left or right, no good or bad. I'm talking about return to nature, the center, the apex of the triangle. You get what I mean? Like, just return to nature. Just close the book, both sides of the book, blue and red, and then go to yellow. You get what I mean? Yellow's at the apex. Just unite all the colors, meet at the center, and make brown, baby. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, just stop. It's just stop. It's just that imaginary world is, it's causing you to just not care about what's happening around you, because you believe so confidently that there is some imaginary being in the sky. Like, one that you have never seen, the one that no one has ever seen for thousands, since the beginning of since the beginning when mortals first created him. See, that doesn't make sense neither. So then there's the other thing. It's God is the Word. The Word is from Jesus, meaning that Jesus was reincarnated through his words, meaning that his words, dude, it's just words. It's just a bunch of words. Jesus never actually came back to life. It was just his words that were reincarnated. Like, I want to say fools, like, you're a fool. Like, stop being a fool. You know what I mean? Like, they're trying to tell you, like, God is Jesus's words. God is the figment of your imagination. That's what God is. It's the book. God is the book. The Bible is God. What I'm trying to say is, like, stop. Just stop, dude. Just stop. You're hurting so many people. You're hurting everyone. You've been hurting people. I'm talking to the religion, all of you, and everyone that just supports it. I'm talking about to the core people of that religion, that the ones that benefit, that profit off it, because it's obviously a business. If you're smart enough to see what that is, that's a business. There's a reason why they make money off of it, because if it really was anything other than a business, they wouldn't be making money off of it. And so obviously it's called moral servitude. In other words, it's moral slavery, meaning give me your money and I'll somehow remedy your vulnerabilities, because you're a vulnerable individual and you'll believe anything. And so, yeah. I was just trying to help the situation with my Native American way of life, nature. And so there's that escape. That's the escape. Anyone who's ready to escape slavery, there it is. Just nature's there for you. Nature will always be there for you. Nature presents itself to you every single day, every waking moment. Nature does not command you to do anything. Nature does not expect for you to do anything. Nature is freaking there, leaves you to be free, freely and wild and free and liberally and basically free. And so, nature, just, there's a, nature has natural effects. That's it. You're just affected by nature's awe, its power. No God nor devil, no God nor devil can mimic the true creator, nature. No God nor devil, none, niet, zip, nada, ever. It's impossible. If you tell me like your God or your devil is stronger than my nature will summon a storm to destroy all your books and your whole civilization, and none of your people will ever exist. None. The thought of God will never exist ever again. Just like that. Simple. If you really think that your God controls my nature, it's impossible. Your God and your devil, your devil, yeah. Your devil, neither. No God nor devil can control my nature. My nature is uncontrollable. Period. I mean, you could put me in shackles. You could beat me to a pulp. You could try to, flash like subliminal imagery into my mind, but you will never tame this, ever. I will vanquish before your eyes, and you will still not be able to catch me, ever. Nature is uncontrollable, and God and the devil are angry about that, because God and the devil are just a bunch of mortals hiding behind a book. Yeah. And every time they come trying to talk to me about that, I check them every single time with nature, and I say, I'm Native American. And that's my identity. That's my culture. That is my true identity. That is my true culture. I have, how can I put this? I have prevailed over 500 years of oppression, cultural genocide, and basically slavery, murder and rape, and yeah, just indoctrination, like conversion into a false religion, into a false belief system. Like, I have surpassed that. 500 years and counting, and here I am. You still can't control me. I am nature. I am an element of nature. I am an elementalist. I am Native American. And that is my identity. But okay, everyone, I hope you enjoyed. I know it's a very tough and very difficult conversation, especially people that are religious, that, were born into that, because I get it. There, if you're European, if you're Middle Eastern, if you're North African, you're one of the children of the people that have been genociding culture after culture all around that have been invading cultures all around this planet and trying to dominate them and conquer them and basically steal their identity and just insert it into their egocentric, like system or egocentric religion. Yeah. So I'm just letting you know, you're free. They can't control you. They will never be able to control you. Even if you are their child, you can escape it because they indoctrinate their own children. And so you too, as their child, are an element of nature, and you can escape that. You don't have to believe in God and the devil. You don't have to believe in all that fantasy shit. You can believe in this. That. Like actual life. And just be free. Be an element of nature, and just, that's what nature intended. Nature didn't intend. That's what nature occurred for it to be. Nature just happened, and that's it. So okay, everyone, y'all be safe, be careful, and much love.